just move on to the third, and the car pulls away from 40 pretty decently all the way till 60 in, say, somewhere around 2 seconds. Okay, let's bring it down from 60 to 40 again on the third gear, and let's give another. The suspension is pretty soft, not completely soft, it's somewhere between hard and soft.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
So this morning we are here to introduce you to the review of Tata Altroz. Why Tata Altroz? Yes, one of the reasons is it has got a 5-star in the NCAP crash test, and also it looks good. It's a fairly 2 to 3 month old car and has done somewhere around 2007 to 3000 kilometers. I have driven this car for fairly more than 1000 kilometers. We went around certain places in this car, and I kind of have a good idea about how this car performs. Now, talking about the basics, let's talk about what the car is. It's Tata Altroz XM model 1.2 liter Revertron engine petrol car. So it disposes somewhere around 86 PS at 6000 RPM and 113 Nm of torque, which is fairly normal for most petrol cars in this price range. What specifically has to be highlighted is the design. I think it is one of the most updated design, and yeah, Tata boasts about it a lot. Like all other car reviews, let's take an exterior tour of the car. So a few things that I would like to bring to your notice when it comes to Tata Altroz XM version, that is petrol 1.2 liter XM version, is the tire provided in the stock are 165/80/14. So technically this model has 14-inch tires. Now, even if you have a Tata Altroz XM model, you would be a little jealous comparing to the people who own a model above the XM, because all XMs or XM Plus and above models have 16-inch tires. Obviously 16-inch tires come with their own advantage. They'd be more stable and they'd be, larger than their lower models. Let's get in and see how the interiors fascinate the Indian car buyers. Now, once inside the car, the car looks pretty comfortable. The car looks pretty nice. There's a good feel once you step in. The fiber also looks pretty good, of superior quality. But personally, I would prefer a darker shade. But that is not a big concern for me now. Starting off with the steering, this is a tiltable steering. The seat adjust for the driver's seat is forward, backward. It also has a forward-backward backrest and also the headrest as well. Same is for the navigator seat or the co-passenger seat. The cover for the steering, the seat covers are aftermarket from Tata itself. So I should say it looks good and doesn't look like it's something that is purchased outside or doesn't come with the stock model. Beginning with the features, you have the sun guard. It plays pretty well. You have a 1-button switch on and off lights over here. The door handles are also pretty fine. There is a knob where you can control the mirrors, and it is also placed in a very appropriate manner. You don't have to stretch out your arm, or you don't have to be, there's no chance of you getting distracted, and you can change the directions or adjust the mirrors while on the move as well. As I said, there are all 4 power windows and power doors inclusive. The instrument cluster It's an analog plus digital. The RPM meter is analog, even the speedometer is analog. The fuel gauge, the meter box, and it also has the feature where it says how much your car can run until it's completely dried out of petrol. I feel these features are more than enough for a car ranging from 5 to 7 lakhs. Moving on to the gear lever. The gear lever is placed in a very appropriate manner. I didn't have to actually run around my hands to find the gear lever like I have to in other cars, few of the other cars. But no offense to anyone. I don't think that there would be any space constraint to keep your keep your stuffs like mobile phones, wallets, because there is ample space over here and you can pretty well keep anything you want. This car is even good for women drivers. They can keep all their stuff and comfortably in this particular compartment over here. Yeah, it should be good. On the doors, there are two compartments over here where you can easily fit in 2 1-liter bottles on the driver side. The same on the co-driver side. See over there. Yeah, and you have a comfortable, glove box over here. So on higher models of Tata Altroz, the highlight is you get a cooled glove box. Unfortunately, on the XM model, we have a normal glove box, and if you see, there's an entire bag that can be stuffed in comfortably inside this compartment. Oops. Talking about the infotainment system, all Tata Altroz models comes with Harman infotainment system. I don't think I have to explain anything about the quality or the sound quality of the Harman speakers. Why? The speakers are really good clarity of music, good sound quality of music, and we enjoy the music on every trip that we have made on this Tata Altroz so far. But something that I would want to highlight, I would prefer buttons more than knobs to change the selection. Even me and also the co-driver had some kind of difficulty to change the selection or work on the infotainment system, maybe to connect or disconnect or reconnect a particular mobile device, because it's kind of challenging to look through the screen, turn the knob until the selection changes. It was not that easy. It was a little difficult. Let's show you. So I press the home button. I press the setup. Now what I'm talking about is to change the selection, I would have to rotate this knob just enough, not too much, not too less. And while on the move, it is not an easy task, even for the co-driver, especially co-drivers with a vomiting sensation when the car is moving. So I was forced to park the car, set my mobile device or connect my mobile device to the information system and then move on. If you see the other side, it is safer because it kind of forces you to stop your car and connect your device and then move on, trying to keep you always focused on the road. The steering now is pretty light and it was real fun to drive on the city as well as on the highway. No complaints. It could be a little more responsive, but yeah, it just does fairly well on the city as well as on the highway, as I mentioned before. Sorry, I forgot to say one thing. The Tata Altroz XM model comes with 2 driving options. One is city mode and one is eco. So the eco mode is good for pretty people with a heavy foot on the accelerator and the clutch. City it just works fine with with people with all kinds of driving styles, and it is pretty effortless to drive in the city as well as on the highways. If you are a person who kind of has an eye on how much of mileage you get even on the highways and the city, you can switch back to eco. Average Indian family, we also have a particular notion that will there be space for the passenger sitting behind. Now I'm fairly 5'9", but I sit quite behind. I kind of push the seat quite behind, and I kind of ensure that my leg stretches all the way to the clutch and my hands are just enough to touch the steering. I have a more of a highway driving style, so I kind of push the seat backward. Now let's go behind and check if there is ample space for me, a height of 5'9", to sit behind. and will a person of my height be comfortable in the back seat? Once on the back seat, it is not surprising for me because I already had this test done the moment I saw this car. I have got ample room, and in fact more room in the between my legs, and I think it should not be a problem for a person with 6 feet to sit comfortably behind. Headrest given on this particular car is just enough for me to sit and sleep, so a person with 5'9" should have no problem resting or relaxing in the back seat while on a highway drive. Tata was actually fair with all the passengers sitting in the seat, and that is why Tata has provided a compartment over here so that people sitting in the back seat can also place their water bottles and small stuffs in the compartment over here. Take a look. There is ample space, and you can actually fit in a lot of stuff, if not your water bottle, in this particular compartment. Another thing that I like about this car is the boot space of the car. It offers 345 liters of ample boot space. That means you can easily stuff in 2 bags of 15 kgs easily inside the boot space itself. Yes. Now, this car doesn't have a lever to open the boot space from inside the car. You have to step out and you have to press the button right under the Tata symbol to open the boot space. Anyways, easy though. I should say there is enough space in the dicky, and you can see the stepney is comfortably inside in a compartment, and it doesn't consume any of the boot space. And to explain how good the boot space is, I would want to step in to show actually how much boot space is there with it. As I said, I'm fairly comfortably 5'9", and I'm a bulky guy. There's so much space. In fact, there is more space than a few compact sedans in the Indian market. Another feature that a few cars, hatchbacks have is a 60-40 split. Let me show you that. It's a real easy way that you kind of split these seats. To kind of enhance the space if you're going on a touring kind of drive, or maybe you're going for an India tour, or just simply want to carry more luggage than usual. You just have to press 2 buttons over here and it just falls the other side. We can look at the boot space now. I mean, a perfect boot space even if you're going for a country tour. And also it's very easy to push it back. Hold it. Keep the seat belts in front. And just give a jerk behind. Done, that's all. Fit this back and connect these wires to the knob above. Nice and easy. What I missed is throughout our trip, we had a specially able person who needed a wheelchair all the time, and we had to carry the wheelchair. So the wheelchair easily got inside the boot, even without splitting the seat 60-40. And also, it also had a lot of stuff that would keep along with the wheelchair, and we didn't have any problem to take it out or push it in, push it back in, because, as I said, 345 liters. It's pretty decent space. One thing that I have not mentioned yet about this car is how the door opens. You might not have noticed, you might not be surprised, but look at this. It's a complete 90-degree open. There is no car in the hatchback hatchback series or hatchback models, or no brands have yet launched this 90-degree split doors. One might kind of think, is it necessary? It is not necessary, but if you have this kind of split, it is really easy for you to hop in, hop out, carry a luggage in, carry a luggage out. Especially if you're having a big bag and you want to put it in, you have a lot of space. It is not going to brush the door, it's not going to damage the door or even scratch the door even for a bit. You can just put it in. Even if you are a very hefty person, being definitely heavier than me, you can simply step in, reach out the door, close it, or step out comfortably. And this feature is there on all doors. Let's take a look. We talked about the exteriors and the interiors, but what the people want to really know is how does a car perform on cities and on highways. Now on cities, I've fairly got a 14 to 15 kilometer per liter. And on highways, I've got somewhere around 17 to 18 kilometer per liter comfortably while cruising on 110, 120s. So I think if you maintain a speed of 80, you should actually get 18 to 19 what Tata claims. Now the ride quality is also good. I should say it's superior because it's not too VV when it comes on the city roads, and is quite steady on the highways. The reason being the front suspension and the rear suspension. Anyways, it is one of the best in class, and rightly the ride quality is also superior. Now I think it's time for us to take the car out for a spin to actually show you how good the car is, or for you to decide whether you should go for a Tata Altroz or not. So inside the car again, we are on a field where the surface is definitely not smooth, and we're going to take a ride inside the field and then also on the city streets. We might not be able to do a ride on the highway today, but definitely in in free spaces, I'm going to do a 40 to 60 or maybe 60 to 80 check of how fast or how quick or how responsive the car is. So let's switch on the engine. Oops. Oh, I forgot to tell you another feature in this car. The engine doesn't switch on until you press the clutch, because I think that's a safety feature. Even when the car is on neutral, you have to press the clutch to switch on the engine. That's a good feature that comes with Tata Altroz. Like I said, we are on the field. We're doing a fairly 30 km per hour. The road is bumpy, but there's not much of a feel inside the cabin. The cabin is not always good. I mean, it's not completely silent, but it's fair enough. It's decent. You get a feel of the engine running. The engine noise is really good. It feels as if it is a little powerful. And we are driving on city mode. The road is a little bumpy to this side, as you can see, but the suspension is pretty soft. Not completely soft. It's somewhere between hard and soft. I'll not say that it's completely soft. And that is the reason it kind of does fairly well on the highways as well. I was completely confident when I had to corner on the highways on hundreds. There was not much of weaving or not much of a feeling where I had to feel a little less confident. So anyways, we are moving on to the road. We are going to check, or I'm going to show you how the car feels on normal city roads. So we are on the fourth gear, in fact, no, sorry, on the second gear on 40. Just move on to the third, and the car pulls away from 40 pretty decently all the way till 60 in, say, somewhere around 2 seconds. Okay, let's bring it down from 60 to 40 again on the third gear, and let's give another try. There's no lag. Accelerator is responsive. It pulls it back again till 60 comfortably in again another 2 seconds. Let's do 80, bring it down to 60 and try to pull on the fourth gear. As good as what it did from 40 to 60, but yeah, it easily touched against 80 from 60 in a fairly somewhere around 3 to 4 seconds. So I should say, again, kind of makes me confident to say that this car does pretty well, is pretty powerful on cities and on highways. The shock absorbers are, not hard, not soft on the cities. You might prefer it a bit softer on the cities, but when it comes to highways, it is just perfect. So the suspension is somewhere in between hard and softer, soft side. So it is pretty comfortable even on cities and even on highways. The car does pretty well, and all passengers sitting in this car can enjoy a good and a comfortable journey, even for long rides.